Good morning. I'm Savine Reddy, a Group Product Manager in Azure Engineering. And today, I'm going to show you how to get the most out of the Synapse Studio SQL Query Editor. Specifically, I'll focus on how you can get the most out of the results that show up when you run a query. So let's start with some sample data. Now what I have is a table with 4 columns. And let me select all the rows there. Now it contains the state name, the total area. This is KM2 means kilometers squared. The area just by land and the area just by water. So those are the 4 columns. And of course, first, since I'm going to do some charting later, I'm just going to get the top 10 rows. Let me run that. And then I'm going to, again, for the charting purposes later, I'm going to need this data to be sorted. So I'll order by the KM2 column, which of course is kilometers squared, and that's the total size of the state, including land and water. And I'll sort that descending. There we go, and let's run that. Okay, so we see we have our results, and we have 10 of them, and it's sorted correctly now by the KM2 column. Now, the first thing to understand is, you may have a lot of columns. This UI actually lets you filter the columns a little bit. You can actually search for data. So let's just show you that in action. So I'm going to pick a number first. I'll just type in 1 in the search bar here. And you can see all the ones are highlighted. So I can search for the data for sure. Also, you can search for text, of course. So let's just try this interactively. I'll type in T, and it's case insensitive, by the way. So T shows up Texas and Montana. And then, of course, I just want TE, and I get Texas. And so now you can see how it's filtering the results, or searching for the results. And one thing to keep in mind here is that it's not reissuing the query, of course. It is simply filtering on the data that it already has back in the UI. Okay, I'll clear the filter. The next thing we want to explore is how do you get this data out? So conveniently, we have this export results button here. And as you can see, we have several formats available: CSV, JSON, and XML. And if you click on CSV, this bar will pop up at the bottom in Edge and show you can open the file or open the folder where the file is. Okay, so I'll remove that. Now, this is, of course, just your standard results view. Let's take a look at what we can do with charting. So by clicking on Chart, you can see it's going to render the data we have. And it's doing a guess about how you want it to rendered. In this case, it started off with a line chart. And let's try to fix this up to make it more useful for us. The first is at the bottom. It doesn't know which column to use for the x-axis. Okay, so we're going to fix that. We want, of course, the state name. So we go to the category column, and we'll pick state. Now the state names are there. And the next thing is, we're really probably interested in only some of the columns and not all 3. In this case, I really want to compare the total size versus the water size. So I'm going to click this checkbox, and now land area is gone. And now I see, of course, just 2 series of data. The blue is the total, and the black line is the water area. And as you can see, Alaska has not only the most total size of any state, it also has the most area by water as well. Okay, now let's focus on labeling these things a little better. First is we're going to want to see the state and the area as labels. So we'll fix up the series, which is, of course, area. I'll type in AREA. And this legend series label, now you see area is right here. Now, of course, we want to see the word state down here. So we'll type in state under the category label. And there you go. Now we have a really nice chart. And we can even explore the chart in other ways. So we can have different chart types. I'll pick bar, for example. It maintains the same configuration, just renders it differently, or column. But I sort of liked it better as area. Or maybe bar. Okay, so now we have we've shown you how to use the different options for the charts. One final thing we can do, again, we can export the chart. So instead of just exporting as a text, we can save as image. If I click here, you'll see a couple of options: JPEG, PNG, and SVG. And the SVG is really useful if you want to embed the chart in a way that it will scale independent of resolution. So you're not locked into a specific set of bitmap formats. Okay, so having done all that, I hope you understand now some of the things you can do just inside Synapse Studio. You can search for rows, you can export the results as not only text formats but also images, and you can do some basic formatting and charting. So you can do some exploration here without having to go into Power BI or Excel or anything. Just keep it all inside Synapse Studio. Again, I'm Sivian Reddy, a Group Product Manager at Azure Engineering, and I hope you found this video useful. Check out more of our videos in our Azure Synapse Analytics Spotlight series.